All right, welcome to Football Focus Weekly, the radio show. I am your host, the Pepman Matt Morrow. We are brought to you by Mise en Place Collective for all your food consulting needs and more. Make sure you visit mepcollective.com. Also, we are sponsored by the CFI Spring Showcase, Saturday, May 18th at West Mecklenburg High School, only $99. 25 plus schools, colleges, I should say, will be in attendance. Great opportunity for recruiting exposure and potential offers to play college football on the next level. Open to classes of 2024 current seniors to 2028, which are rising freshmen. So if you're a young kid, get you a taste of what camps are like, and especially if you're a talented young kid going to college camps later on this summer, come get that experience and get on recruiting radars. We've had young rising freshmen get offers at our camps before, believe it or not. Once again, make sure you go to charlottefootballinsiders.com and sign up for that great opportunity. Here with us tonight, a little bit of a renaissance night. We got Adam Big Eye Shelby Weber and the engine Kenneth McClamrock. Yes, he is here. Welcome, gentlemen.
What's up, man?
What's going on?
How's it going with the old high school football at your respective schools?
Things are great, man. Kids at Rocky River are working out extremely hard. We're averaging about 55 kids a day, private school workouts. Kids are buying in. Seniors are buying into the message, and they're preaching it to the younger guys. And we got new guys there every single day, man. So life is good at the Rock.
Awesome, man. Big Eye.
All's been good, man. Wrapping up, get ready to wrap up the school year, man. Trying to make sure we get kids where we need them to be. Spring wise, we've been having a lot of good numbers. All the guys that we've been counting on and depending on, they've been there. Older guys bringing the young guys along. So we're just trying to build off the last 2 years and and just focus on ourselves and getting better individually in the spring.
I love how you are so humble on here, but then on social media, you are a whole different vibe.
I haven't said nothing on social media, man.
Well, tell those guys, man, y'all are so good, they don't even need to be working, man. Just tell them they can take.
Nah, man, we not, hey, man.
June off, take July off.
Man,
just tell them to get a job and go to McDonald's and get some wings, man. I can get them some wings somewhere. I got a discount for them.
Nah, man, we haven't even been able to see the full team yet, man. We got a couple guys playing baseball, 3 or 4 guys playing baseball, a couple guys still running track. So, man, it'd be good to see everybody once May hit, be able to see everyone. It'd be good.
Absolutely. And then, sitting backstage, waiting patiently, Coach Dub.
There he
Robert
is.
Washington from Mountain Island.
Hey, Kenny, did you say something about wings?
I told for some of Webb's kids, man, I got the hookup on some wings during the summertime, man.
Hey, that sound like a little tampering right there, man.
They'll be good.
Tampering?
No, I'm telling them they'll
we
even
can't
about
go
going
there.
to practice.
Please don't say that.
Don't say that. Don't
Not
say
on
that.
this show, not right now. We say that for the after show. All right. Coach Dub, you doing all right?
Man, I'm good, man. Just in track season, track mode. We got conference championships next week, and then after next week, it'll be regionals and then state. So just trying to gear up for this championship run.
It's going to be number 4 for you, right?
Possibly. We're working.
I got you. All right, we got 2 comments in the bucket. Of course, it's Kim Watts. Happy Wednesday. CFI dedicated fan. I got to get you a badge. They let me give badges to people on Facebook. I can get you a badge. And then Keith Booker checking in. Thank you for watching. Appreciate that, Keith. Tagging a couple other people to come on and check us out. Appreciate that. All right, well, let's get started. Oh, there's been some things going on, hasn't it? Open jobs. What's going on? Butler, Mooresville, and North Meck are all still open. They're in different stages of their search, I guess. I'll lead off with I had several people send me an article today, which is from, make sure I get this right, the SC Now website. I guess it's a local paper down in South Carolina. And it talked about Glenwood Furby, who we know, from Chambers. He took the job down there at Wilson High School. He's no longer going to be the coach per the South Carolina Now website. And it says he's accepted a job, and the athletic director down there says he believes it's at Butler High School. So we know Butler High School's open. Now, Coach Ferb leaving this job in Wilson. A lot of people are trying to put two and two together, but here's what I will say. And we have been through this. All of us have been around a long time. Until things are final and they are announced, you can't assume anything. And nothing has been announced by Butler High School. So what do you guys think about this kind of situation that could be happening?
I think it could be, with situations like this, I think it could be, kind of messed up on both parties. With one, if you're leaving the current school you're at, and it could be potentially saying like, okay, you're going to the next school without anything being in writing or documented yet, it could potentially hurt your chances of being at whatever new school that you can go to without everything being final. I think the Butler community, I think they're ready to have a head coach announced. I think it's getting long in the process, right? They're about the spring ball starts next week, May 1st, next week. So it's kind of odd, kind of awkward that you don't have a head coach yet going into spring ball. I think a lot of these players or parents and fans they just want to know who it's going to be and when it's going to be announced.
Yeah. I mean, we all thought it was, late in the process, to be searching for a coach, given the circumstances. But Coach Dub, Engine, you got something you want to add on that?
I'll leave it alone. So I'm a coach in the conference, but they've got an excellent staff. They have an excellent tradition there. One of the best programs in the state of North Carolina since they opened up. So the job has to be covered by a lot of people. So I'm sure they had a lot of applicants, a lot of interviews, a lot of top quality candidates, and I'm sure that they have their choice of the litter. And they could probably call up anybody in the state and they would take it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for those watching that may not be familiar, obviously Coach Ferb, did a great job at Chambers, leading them to 2 championships and another deep run into the state playoffs at another championship game. So if it does happen, which, like I said, it's not official, I think it would be a really good hire for Butler. He's done a lot of great things on the field as a coach, and he's obviously got the college experience because he was the director of high school football relations at Virginia Tech for 2 years. So you're getting a lot, if that hire does come to pass. Now we've also got 2 other jobs that are still open with Mooresville and North Meck, and those searches or interviews are taking place at both of those schools right now, and a lot of different names have been thrown around. I visited Mooresville Monday. They are having spring practice, and they look good. They look really good. They have a lot of talented players. So a coach walking into that situation is walking into a really good team. Some of the challenges, what are the challenges going to be for a coach getting a job at a Mooresville that's got a lot of talent coming back?
I think just mushing in with the tradition and trying to add to what they already established as a coach, because obviously a new coach want to bring his ideals in, her ideals in, but just kind of mushing with that community that's already established and coaching. I mean, Mooresville got probably one of the best fan bases in the area, or at least one of the top 5 fan bases. So that coach just going in, trying to get people to buy into what they need the community to do or the players to do. So just kind of blending in what they bring to the table and what's already at the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another part of it is you've got a pretty good staff already in place that knows their roles and they're executing the plan that they have in place currently. Um, and then North Meck, it's a situation where we know some players have left the program. Um, getting into a North Meck situation, what are some of the challenges there? It's a lot different than Mooresville.
Probably trying to when you coming in, biggest thing I think you have to get the parents and kids on board. Let you know like whoever takes over, whoever they may hire, let them know, and whatever staff they're bringing, let them know it's going to be different than the last. And you have to build. I believe you got to build a trust factor from day one. Like you have to show them why you different, how things going to be different. I think you have to. First thing you got to get to win the building, trying to get kids back to play. If some of them was probably on the team last year and say, "Hey, I'm not playing this year," or anything like that, I think you got to go in and win the building and win the parents and the kids over immediately.
Big guy, you sound like you might be a head coach in the future.
Mhm.
That's the plan, man. One day.
Okay. All right, good. Oh, we'll bring in
Go
good.
I was say as far as Mooresville go too, I think whatever coach gets that job, I think it's kind of like you're gonna be in a tough spot, but it's a great spot to be in because like you said, you got great staff already there, great kids already there, but it's tough because normally when a coach comes in, a new head coach, I may want to bring a different D coordinator or a different offensive coordinator, but how late it is, you gotta almost treat it like college where you got to let's get through the spring, then see what I need. You know what I'm saying? Like coming in, he don't know what positions that he may need that's like urgent right now. Like, I mean, where your top talent is. Like, you got the linebacker. You got the defensive end.
Yeah.
And like you got certain players and how y'all did last year, but outside looking in, you're not going to know what the team needs until you get there. Like you may not know, okay, what coaches want to stay. Like it could have been coaches on the staff that applied for the job, didn't get it, or coaches that may want to follow the old coach. So in the spring, it's about, hey, we doing this for the kids for this month.
Mm-hmm.
When spring over with, let's sit down, let's talk. If you want to be a part of it, let me know. If not, let me know. I can help you any way I can. That way you can get whoever you want in, at least during June when we get them 2 weeks off, well, like during school, and that way you can try to get your staff in there. You have your parent meetings, whatever you need to do starting out to let people know, like, hey, introduce the coach because you take over, you're going to be introduced. That's a day of practice maybe that you're going to have to miss out just for doing it for the kids and parents to meet the coach. So the head coach, it's one of those, like, it's a win-win situation. I mean, you coming in with great talent, great players, great fans, great coaches, and you just got to figure out, like, you can't mess it up during the spring. So you just got to find a way to keep everybody on board during the spring, then handle it how you may be after that.
So here's a question. Some of us have been through this. The dynamic of going and being a new coach on a staff and then having someone on that staff that applied for that job, but yet staying on staff. How do you handle that dynamic?
My first head coaching job, there was a guy on staff who applied for the job. He interviewed for the job. He did not get the job. And he was, well, I'll be really PC. He was not a very good member of our coaching staff for the next 2 months. He was so low of a member of the coaching staff that the last week of July, I had to fire him.
Oh, good gracious.
A week out from fall camp starting, and I fired my coordinator position.
Wow.
So it can be a detriment if it's not a very professional person, or it could be a benefit because now you have a young coach potentially who has now been through that interview process, who knows what that looks like, who knows what ADs and principals are looking for. And if they're professional about that, they can bring that to the table because now they know what they need to improve on. They can talk to that AD. They can talk to that principal. Hey, where was I wrong? Where did I miss the boat? What did I not show you that I needed to show you? And now they can put that into practice for that coming season. I think in the case of a Mooresville, for sure, obviously they have a tremendous coaching staff. I mean,
yes.
Coach Holman is one of the most respected coaches in all the state. I consider him a good friend. They've got young coaches, and Coach Mayo, for example, who I worked with just a little bit when he was doing student teaching at Central Cabarrus, who is very well respected among his peers already. I'm sure that those two guys are running the practice right now just based off of their experience and based off of their relationships with the kids. But what I do think can be tough for a coach if it's an outside hire is they're going to finish spring ball and then the new coach is coming in.
Yeah.
And so you've installed an offense potentially, you've installed a defense potentially, whether it was review from last year or not. But now you have a new coach with new ideas, new philosophies, new expectations, new wants, who's going to come in and I can't remember if it was Coach Dobb or Coach Webb said it, but potentially bringing in their own people.
Yeah.
So now maybe you're moving a well-liked coach. And maybe that well-liked coach doesn't want to be moved and he decides to take his talent somewhere else. So I think that this spring practice, obviously it's awesome. The kids are running around, they're getting good work in. If a coach on staff gets the job, then they're going to keep on flying, not missing a beat. But it can potentially cause some hiccups. We know that Mooresville is a coveted job. We know that Mooresville pays better than CMS, for example. So, you got some really good coaches applying even this late in the game for that job. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. They're going to have, once again, they're going to have a lot of picks for whoever they want.
Yeah, and Kenny, go ahead. I agree with you, Kenny. Just to add to that, also the uncertainty of the coaches that's actually doing the work. You don't know if you're going to be there. A person can bring in their guys, like you said. And then also the uncertainty with the players. They don't know what their staff is going to look like. Because right now, what we're trying to build in football off-season workouts is chemistry as well, team bonding. So you don't know if the guys that you're bonding with in the weight room, on the field, you don't know if that's the group that you're going to be going in with next month. So it's kind of sticky right there as far as trying to build some kind of team thing. Most of the stuff that they're doing is probably just vanilla stuff, maybe some skill and drill stuff, but it's going to be hard to build that team. And it will be tough, but all those jobs are high coveted jobs that already have cultures established. So I think they'll be fine.
Well said. We'll bring in the producer, defensive end extraordinaire, Brandon Brack from Harding University High School.
That would be me. Glad to be here. Just been sitting behind the scenes, just kind of listening to you guys, man. All brought up good points. And I was gonna say with the Mooresville thing, whoever is in there has to be ready to meet a challenge, because you're not coming in to meet the expectations of a school. You're there to meet expectations of an entire community. There are people there that have no association with the school at all, but they will see you and talk to you and what happened in that game last night, what's going on. There are people that support the team that aren't connected. They don't have any kids to go to school. They don't work at the school, but that whole community rallies behind that team, and that whole the small town vibe or whatever. So whoever's steps in just has to be ready for that. But any coach coming in knows that this isn't anything they don't know, but they'll get the right guy.
Yeah, to your point, when I interviewed some of the players, they talked about, the pressure to get past the second round. I mean, it's a goal for them to get deep in the playoffs. So meeting that expectation,
Because given their history, if you just thought about it, if they didn't look, someone would probably assume, they have a state title, if not multiple. Just given their history, if you just didn't look it up, you probably would assume they got some titles. So I'm sure they want that monkey off their back, so to speak.
Yeah, well said. To finish up the segment, we got a couple comments right here. So Keith Booker saying, I don't get it. So all these staffs had assistant coaches. You mean nobody is qualified to be head coaches? Well,
we pushed for assistant coaches last week at North Meck, and we mentioned multiple assistant coaches at Mooresville this week.
Yeah, and when we talked about Butler, we mentioned.
And I think
we talked about multiple coaches at Butler.
Yeah.
I think for that comment too, I think outside looking in, you would think so, but I think a lot of the point that people miss is that some people are fine with just wanting to be the assistant coach. Like they're fine with like being an assistant coach, being a coordinator without being the head coach. Like every staff, if you have a staff of 12, I mean, it's not like college where you may have 12 guys that all potentially want to be like head coaches. So we all gonna go do this together and win, and we can have a coaching tree and say, okay, all these guys came out of Alabama. And look what they're doing now. And high school is a little different because you got to think about family. You got to think about more pressure. Like, it's different being the linebackers coach and the parents like you versus you being the head coach, where you got, instead of 5 or 6 parents you're dealing with in your position, now you're dealing with 50 or 60 and everybody problems. So it's like a lot of, and also on the other side, a lot of coaches at certain programs, not necessarily saying Mooresville or North Meck or Butler, a lot of guys don't get groomed in the ways you think to become head coaches. So, like, it goes back to what we say a lot of times, having that support, or just teaching young guys that has an aspiration, like, hey, okay, if you want to be a head coach, this is what you do. So, outside looking in, I get your comment. It's easy to say that, but, like, you just got to know people. You got to ask assistant coaches or talk to coaches like, hey, like, did you ever want to be a head coach, or are you getting pushed to be a head coach? Because, it's all different scenarios from different people.
You're exactly right. No, I'll say this. Then we'll go to you, Kenneth. I mean, excuse me. I'll just use myself as an example. I mean, I didn't work in the school, and I became an OC. But because I didn't work in the school, I had no desire, and no one would ever throw my name out there anyway. But I had no desire to be a head coach because, to your point, Adam, there's a lot that goes with that.
It's true.
And I mean a ton, just the responsibility and time commitment and all those things. And some people just don't want to deal with it. They just don't want it.
Well, I want to add something to it. And I think this is more so what Keith is talking about. What if those assistant coaches that did apply? And I mean, being a head coach, and Kenny, you've been a head coach, and knowing we're not always necessarily grooming our coaches, but it might be coaches on the staff that might want to learn more. That's just trying to learn from the head coach. I feel like every staff out here in high school has some coach that's an assistant that could possibly fill in and be the head coach. So it's somebody on that staff that's ready. And I think that's more what he's talking about, that being that big of a team, being that great of a team, is no one on that staff that they couldn't look at. Has to be something.
Well, I think we could all say in all three of those situations, there are people on those staffs that could be head coaches.
Excellent hires.
Yeah.
Then as far as the Butler one now, you look at decisions that they may have that may be very deserving of the job. Now you kind of look at it like, hey, like, we could have had this hire. We could have made this hire 4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like one of those where the reality of a lot of coaches where it's like, hey, I want to try to be a head coach, but I don't want to know if that's how they really feel about me once I go in that room and go in that interview. And now it's like, okay, you wait a month because the other guy, because normally because if I'm on the staff at the Mooresville or Butler or North Met, like, we probably know who's getting interviewed or who got chances to get the job. It is like, okay, Kenneth didn't get it. Okay, we're going to interview Dub. Okay, Coach Dub ain't get it. Okay, we're going to introduce Brandon. Okay, Brandon ain't get it. Oh, well, now, okay, let's give Coach Weber a shot. He's been wanting it. Well, you could have probably made that decision a month ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's all
You didn't say my name, man. What the heck?
Coach Pep, I mean, it's all the same. You know what I'm saying? 3-4 people can interview for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, 3-4 people can interview for it. And now it's like, okay, I interview for it, and I'm on your staff. I'm in the building. I got the kids. I've been coaching. I've been doing great in my position. Now it's like, okay, some people, it's the same way, like, you don't want to be feeling like you're the fifth option.
Well, let me say this. I think it's already happening without, and I'm not speaking on this situation because I don't know the situation. So this is nothing towards Butler or any of these opening jobs. But in many situations, you're going to nudge the assistant coach. If you're an AD or something, you might say, hey, have you thought about applying for this job? Yeah. Hey, have this person thought about applying for that job? I mean, you should know, and some of those assistants are already working in the building, so they're walking around the AD every day. So even just nudging them, just let them know. So maybe them not even being nudged is giving a hint like, hey, maybe they don't want me. So to your point, where even if they apply for it or they don't apply for it, they just sitting in the building and no one's kind of wink, won't you apply for it? Not saying you're going to get it, but put your name in the hat. Mm-hmm. There's many situations. Like, I mean, that I've seen head coaches that might not necessarily say, "Hey, I want to be the head coach," but maybe an AD nudged them to say, "Hey, go ahead and apply for it," because again, jobs like that, not saying they run themselves, but it's a program. So you could bring in someone that's already been an assistant and you'll be just fine. And don't think that the old head coaches aren't going to be able to mentor and give advice behind the scenes with their assistant coaches. Don't think if any of those assistant coaches at Butler's was named a head coach, that Coach Hales wouldn't be one phone call away.
Yeah. Angie, you had something you wanted to say.
Oh, I was just going to say that the McClamrod coaching tree has a lot of guys who've moved up the ladder and become head coaches. So if you're a young coach looking to move up the ladder, I'll help you grow.
Y'all got some openings over there?
I always have openings for good coaches. Always.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
All right. Well, make sure you hit up Coach McClamrod if you need a job.
Always. That's what I heard.
That being said, all right, we come back here on the Football Focus Weekly on WDRB Media. We're going to talk about fans. I saw a story. Actually, Karen Belk tagged me in a story we're going to talk about. Fans yelled something at an official, and the official just walked off the field. Crazy. And then we'll also talk about fans yelling at coaches because, of course, that happens too. So we'll be right back here on WDRB Media, the voice of the community. All right, we're back, and we're going to talk about fans disrespecting coaches and officials. So I referenced a story that Karen Belk tagged me in, and this was a soccer game, a middle school soccer game, and a fan yelled something at the official about not making a certain call, and the story, as it goes on Facebook, the official just started walking off the field, and he kept walking to the parking lot, got in his car, and drove off. In the middle of the game. So I've never experienced anything like that. Of course, football, you got multiple officials, but fans disrespecting officials. We'll start with that angle. What can be done with these fans to say all these crazy things? What kind of discipline should be put into place?
I mean, you can't stop them, I don't think.
Well, it's something in place now.
Okay.
And I don't know the exact language, but it's something in place. It's NCHSA started something called bench bad behavior, and it's something in place where, and I don't want to quote because I don't have the exact quote, I don't know the exact rule, but it's something to the effect of if the fans are too disruptive, that they'll end the game. So I didn't look it up, but it's something like that where the referee can actually end the game for bad behavior by the fans.
Which is wild because that only hurts the kids. That's crazy. That's only the people behaving bad. It don't affect them. They're gonna be all right, and the kids gotta suffer. But I think people need to realize most, until you get to the, up in rank, or even NFL, most coaches, most refs don't. That's not their full-time job. They're just, it's a little extra money. They're not doing it to pay their mortgage, to pay their rent, to keep the lights on. It's something they do, supplemental. So that's why that guy drove off, because he's going to be okay either way. So it's like they're disrespecting him because they feel like, oh, they'll take it. This is their job. They need to. Not necessarily. So I think with a shortage of referees, we need to treat the ones we have good.
Absolutely. So I looked it up, what you said, Coach Dub, and they do. It's bench bad behavior. So their all sports protocol is 0 tolerance for inappropriate language and profanity, which some of the games I used to coach in would be no fans. And then 0, and this is funny, 0 tolerance for assistant coaches contesting calls.
Well, that's explained.
Wow.
That's explained at the referee and head coaches meeting, where they said that, hey, who's calling the timeout? 9 times out of 10 is the head coach, but they'll tell us like, hey, if I only want to hear from you, not your assistant coaches. So it's in place.
So I'll tell you this story. So it was pregame, and our defensive coordinator at Harding at the time would wear a bright yellow jacket at every game, so they would know who's calling the signals or whatever. So the official on our sideline, he came up to me and said, "You tell that yellow jacket, if I hear one word from him tonight, he's gone." Before the game. And I was shocked. Like he had a reputation about it. But anyway. But that's good though. We got to do something to get these fans in line.
Well, Pep, let me add to that because also I feel like it's up to the ADs, athletic administrators that's administering the game, to have enough volunteers at this game to be able to manage that, because you can catch something before you make it to official, because the athletic administrator of the game is there to protect the officials as well, and to protect the integrity of the game. So if you got fans that's just yelling at officials before we even get to the point of the bench and bad behavior and canceling the game, it's on the athletic administrator of that game to make sure that even they give that fan a warning or toss that fan. It's just simple as that.
I really do wish, and I preface this by saying, it's a great experience, to go to a high school football game. It's one of the last few things in this world that are affordable and you can take your family to and not spend $100, But you got, and some of y'all can think about this. You got you Kenneth, Coach Doug, your wives, your family are in the stands, and then people are yelling things that they shouldn't be yelling. I mean that's just not right. It's not right, and I wish more of those people would get thrown out. I mean,
if you want to coach. That's my philosophy. If you want to coach.
And Adam, I'll say this. When we were at you guys' game against Hickory Ridge, and you're laughing because you know what I'm talking about. Like you guys are putting up like 80 points, and I'm still hearing things that are, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those. Not to talk about that situation. I think it's one of those just what coaches have to deal with, whether you winning or you losing. I mean, it's tough on coaches because people forget. I think people look at coaches or athletes while they're playing and forget that they're still human beings and they still have families at the game. Now, I mean, if somebody comes to the game drunk and want to be, be belligerent or whatever and just like yell and cuss at people, it's no place for that. It's like what Brandon said. A lot of people feel like they coach or they can coach better than coaches. And I think that's why why all these 7-on-7 teams done started, all these football teams done started, because somehow, some way or another, I was thinking about this earlier this week. Somehow, some way down the line, that those respectable recreational coaches or little league coaches, not all of them, but some of them feel like they are just as equal as the high school coach, and it starts because I won all these flag football championships. I can come yell at Kenneth. About what he needs to do on this varsity game. And that's kind of what it started with, because I'm sure people that yell at games, they probably done coached before at like a lower level or feel like they're better than what the coaches do. Or somebody's drunk auntie or drunk uncle or drunk brother that used to play. And it's crazy when they come to the games and people want to like yell and scream and cuss at coaches and players, and I'll just be like, don't forget, you talking about like high school kids here, and they can hear them. Like kids now,
right,
like I'm sure even with Kenneth's two boys, the kids hear everything, and they know exactly who said it and how they said it, and they will repeat what was said.
Yes,
so it don't take much.
It
don't take much, and it's unfortunate, like y'all say. It's bad for the coaches. It's bad for the players. It's bad for the atmosphere. I mean, it's no place for it. Just come to the game. If you got an issue that bad, just wait till you get home and let it out, or you know what I'm saying, or just find another way to cope. Because coming to the game, yelling, cussing, fighting, and screaming ain't gonna happen.
Well, my thing is this: going back to the original, preface, the official just walking off the field. Like, have y'all ever seen a situation like that? Somebody just.
Especially not at a soccer game, no.
There's one official.
Yeah, like in this. I've heard. Now I will say people think football parents are bad at basketball. Now I done heard some soccer parents get after it. I done heard some soccer parents get after referees, but I think as the role of the referee, just like a coach, you know what you're signing up for.
Yeah, that's true.
And now you walk off the field. You walk off the field, and now the kids can't play. So you really? So what point did you prove? You really hurting the kids?
Hey, they had enough. I'll walk off because at the end of the day, it has to go to some kind of extreme. Because what I've heard more so in the last 2 years, Adam, Kenny, y'all probably heard the same thing, and Pep and B, y'all probably heard it too. Is that it's the amount of officials, quality officials, have went down.
Yes.
And that's because the real good officials are leaving the game. It's the same way with coaches. A lot of great coaches are leaving the game and being pushed out of the game because of fans, parents, you name it, that just have unrealistic expectations about the game, how it should go. And it's just hurting sports, and ultimately it hurts kids. So I will walk off too, because you got to teach them a lesson. They'll think twice about doing that. I guarantee you.
I hope so. In the comments, Tony Armstrong Sanders says people that are foul, disrespectful, extremely disruptive need to go, but athletics is about the banter. You got to keep it classy. Now, I expect, a certain level of, talk, but then you cross that line, that's it. You got to go. And
Pep, I was a new coach,
brand
new head coach, many years ago, and I heard this woman up in the stands, and she was just yelling, buddy. She hated me, like I had done something wrong to her. And when we throw it, she would yell. When we would run it, she'd yell. And I kept noticing she kept saying, "Stop running up the middle! Stop running up the middle! Stop running up the middle!" And about the fifth time I heard it, I said, I think I know that voice. I turned around, and it was my wife right there behind me. Stop running the middle where they are. And then I realized, but what Tony said is exactly right. I mean, there's supposed to be banter. There's supposed to be some back and forth. I think we all accept that. But what Webb was saying and what Coach Dove was saying is when that thing crosses a line, when you start to cuss, when you start to use abusive language, when you start to threaten. The last couple of years when I was out of coaching, my boys and I went to a lot of sports events, right? Covered a lot of football games for CFI, and mostly we were on the sidelines, so we were away from that mess. But my boys like basketball and wrestling and other sports as well, so we would sit in the stands. It's basketball.
Yeah.
And the amount of language that would come out of grown men that was directed towards their son's coach, their son's teammates, the other coach, the official. And, at the end of the day, here's the thing about all high school coaches, most high school coaches, they're really science teachers. They're really math teachers. They're really social studies teachers. They're teachers first. They got into teaching. In fact, I was at a game this past year, and somebody yelled out, I think I told you this story, "Is you a coach or is you a teacher?" That's why I'm laughing, because every coach on that sideline, minus one, were teachers, and they were teachers first. The teacher is what pays their mortgage. The teacher is what pays their light bill. The teacher is what puts their kids into college. The coach is what they do because they love working with kids. And I think that's important for us to remember that. I think that if you're mother effing and you're GDing and you're threatening and you're being abusive, you got to go, man. Nobody wants to hear that if you're an official. Nobody wants to hear that if you're a coach. No one wants to hear that if you're the AD or the school resource officer or anybody else, man. There's no other job in the world where you can go to that job and start blasting people. We don't go to our tax accountants and start mother effing them because, we should have gotten $3 more back on our return.
Let me also add, be clear, piggyback. A bad call does not justify threatening someone's safety. Even if it was blatantly bad. I don't care how bad it was. Wasn't pass interference. It wasn't holding. That still doesn't give anyone the right to threaten somebody, even if it was a blatantly bad call. Because, at the end of the day, it's not that serious to threaten someone's personal safety over a pass interference.
And it shouldn't be any, and to clarify, it shouldn't be any banter between the fans and officials.
No.
It shouldn't be any banter between the fans and the coach. I get the banter of the game. It's with maybe the players, maybe the coaches. If I'm coaching against Adam, maybe I'm going to let them have it a little bit. He might let me have it same way with Kenny. But it shouldn't be banner between parents and players, because what parents do is they will troll the coaches, they will troll the officials, and then accuse the officials of playing favoritism and the coaches of playing favoritism. You just trolled everybody. It shouldn't be any banter. Be respectful. It's levels to this.
And it was crazy though. I don't understand how referees can hear the fans sometimes, because when I'm coaching AAU basketball, I can't even hear my parents yell at me, and they may be telling me take their son now.
That's that coach's ear.
Hey, I can't even hear them. Hey,
Well, listen.
Listen. It's been funny. Like my parents would be like, "Hey, coach, you don't hear us yelling at you, telling you like, take our son now. He ain't running this and that." I'd be like, when I'm coaching. I don't hear nobody. It's like I'm in a zone where it's like a room of me and the players and the other coach, and it's like nothing else matters. So if I'm a referee and I got my earpiece in talking to Pep, hey Pep, what you call over there? There's no way I'm over here. I can hear the fans screaming. And now the soccer game probably wasn't that many people there. It's a middle school soccer game. It probably wasn't that many people there. It probably was something personal.
Adam, you got some big mouth fans. Come on.
I get it, but I'm saying I can only imagine though, Rob. I'm telling you, if you talk to any parent that I've coached as far as basketball, they'll say I'll be like, I do not hear. You almost got to do sign language when I look up there for you to do something. Like for you to get my attention. Like as far as voices, I can't hear nothing. So I don't know. It's like I zone them out. It's like you zone. Oh no, man. It's crazy.
Well, all of us except for a producer have been coaches, so we understand what you're saying.
Producer understand too when all them women be yelling his name. He tuning them out.
All right, so when we come back here on WTRP, I'm gonna go solo because I think it's time, and I'm gonna talk about the class of
Adam, you crazy.
2026.
Oh, disputed.
Hey,
we'll be right back here on WTRB.
Hey, Adam, what do they be screaming? Adam, you gotta say it. How they say his name?
Oh boy. Let's see. Okay, we're back, and I'm gonna go solo, and I'm gonna talk about my top 5 rankings in the class of 2026 linebackers in the Charlotte metro area. All right, we'll start with number 5. It is Drew Drakeford from Palisades, 6'1", 205. Drew was an all-conference selection last season in the SOMEC conference. He's been selected for both of his seasons so far at Palisades. I really like him film-wise. He's a magnet to the football. Every clip that I saw, he diagnoses the play really well from his inside linebacker spot. And he ends up being the one to make the tackle. Has good technique, and he tackles very well in space. Drew also shows good discipline in zone coverage. He spot drops very well as a linebacker and reads the crossers. In particular, there's one play, there's a middle screen with some misdirection that the offense drew up, but Drew wasn't fooled. His eyes came off the action, and he made a nice solo tackle on the play. So good overall player. He's number 5 in class of 2026 linebacker rankings for the Charlotte metro area. Number 4, we've got Brandon Creech from Sun Valley. He's a first-team all-conference selection last year. He's 6 foot, 215 pounds, impressive 4.5 GPA. He's got an offer from Charlotte currently, and I think he's got a good chance to build on that recruiting interest and offers in the upcoming camp season. Strong tackler in space. He runs plays down outside the hashes from his middle linebacker spot as a routine thing on his highlight film. I really like his pursuit angles. He takes good angles on those sideline-to-sideline plays. Shows very good overall speed. He shows some good ability to play man coverage in the passing game. He has a nice interception in coverage against the running back that he ended up taking back for a touchdown. Now I think this camp season is big for him. He can get out there and get exposed to some more schools and really get on a lot of recruiting boards. Number 3, I've got Caleb Gordon from Ashbrook, 6 foot, 215 pounds. He stepped into being a big-time player last year for the Green Wave at the middle linebacker spot. He's got offers currently from Charlotte and Austin P. And I think this upcoming camp season is going to be huge for him as growing recruiting interest and potential offers. When you look at the film, he's very fast. They like to blitz him through A and B gaps. There are plays where he's untouched, through those gaps at the snap. He times it very well. I think it's reflective of some strong football IQ. He's a very sure tackler in space against skilled players. On his highlight, the majority of his highlights are solo tackles, which is what you want from middle linebacker. He also shows good ability to play zone coverage in the middle of the field. I'm excited to see how he grows more this upcoming season. Now, the final two, I went back and forth on these, on who was going to be number 2 and who was going to be number 1. And I had to take several looks at film and then kind of just do my own kind of deduction. But number 2, I've got Thomas Davis Jr. from Weddington. That name sounds familiar. He is the son of former Carolina Panthers star Thomas Davis. He's made a big name for himself. His current recruiting situation, he's got a ton of offers from a ton of schools. I'll name some of them. Virginia Tech, Boston College, North Carolina, NC State, Auburn, Tennessee, Miami, South Carolina, Penn State, Southern California, LSU, Notre Dame. He just picked up one from Ohio State not too long ago. He's desired by a lot of schools, obviously. He's 6'3", 205 pounds. He's a very physical player. He can light up skilled players in space and force fumbles in the process. He's a 3-down linebacker that has the athleticism to cover the middle of the field in zone coverage, and he's got the speed to run down wide receivers in space. And simply, he's one of the best linebackers in the state, and he's grown exponentially in his career at Weddington. But number 1, I got Dallas Brandon from Independence. When I looked at his film, I was just blown away, to be honest with you. 6'2", 205 pounds. He's got offers from Charlotte, Miami, East Carolina, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, Missouri, North Carolina, Duke, Wake Forest, Toledo, Coastal Carolina, Troy, Connecticut, James Madison, and Tennessee. And I think he's got a Mississippi State offer now. I didn't have that when I put this together. I think he's got that too. I think I describe him as a heat-seeking missile, whether he's diagnosing and blowing up interior run plays or reacting out of his middle of the field zone in the passing game. He's truly a 3-down linebacker. Great speed and agility in the open field. Over and over in his highlights, he diagnoses plays quickly, gets there, and stonewalls them with excellent tackling technique, especially in the running game. He plays his zone coverage very well, and he lights up intended receivers with hard hits on a normal basis. He's got really good athletic ability to blitz from the linebacker position and affect the quarterback almost immediately. And he's got a 4.3 GPA and an honor roll student. He's got everything that you want, plain and simple. Whew. All right, so when we finish up the show and come back here on WDRB Media, we're going to talk about spring practice, goals of spring practice, and some observations that I've had in the 2 places I've visited so far. We'll be right back here on WDRB Media, the voice of the community. All right, we're back, and I'm going to bring the crew back, and we're going to finish up the show talking about spring practice, goals, and observations. So, first of all, you guys, Kenneth and Big Eye, you guys hadn't started spring practice yet, but when you get there and you start, what are some of the goals you have for your team?
Well, you want to lay a foundation.
You can go ahead. I was on mute.
You want to lay a foundation. You want to make sure that your kids are getting off on a great start. You want to go back and review to clean up things that older kids have forgotten. You want to review to go over new stuff for new players that you have that maybe have transferred in or maybe have never played football before. You also want to begin to set the expectation and the tone for what your summer workouts are going to be like and what eventually your fall camp is going to be like. You want to make sure that coaches are getting on the same page. You want to make sure, from small things like logistically, which group is going to be where on the field to what our transitions will look like. We want to start to find out, hey, this kid played this position last year, but he's grown 3 inches. He's put on 25 pounds. Can he play another position for us? Or can he no longer play that position he played last year because he's gotten so much bigger? Those are all things that you want to start to see in spring camp. Spring camp obviously is to get you ready for summer workouts. Summer workouts, of course, is to get you ready for fall camp. But that's what I like to look for. That's what we like to see. We want to start to see that team camaraderie, like we talked about earlier, starting to come to be. We want to see older guys starting to take ownership of what our program is going to look like this year. We want to see them start to step up. Guys who are juniors and who maybe weren't the guys last year. Well, now you're seniors and you're the guy that everyone's looking to. And so I need you to start to take ownership, start to take a leadership position in that, make this team yours. But those are some things that we'll be looking forward to finding out when we get started here in a few weeks.
Excellent. Big Eye, what you got?
As far as mine being more so position based, I challenged my linebackers this year to be more violent and let's be more fearful. I think last year we had a lot of good things happen for us defensively, and we are retaining a lot of guys on the defense, but it's going to cause us to be better. The work we put in last year to get to the 5th round, obviously it wasn't enough because we didn't advance, so we just have to find ways to be better. Linebacker, while I want us to be more violent, and like I said, I want people to fear. I want people to fear trying to figure out which backer they want to run to because they see no weakness in either one of them. I want us to communicate more. I think defensively, as a unit, I think we did our best communication when it came down to the playoffs. But why can't we start week 1 being excellent communicators and see if we can have that last for 15 to 16 weeks? As a team goal, man, you just want to see our guys take that next step. Like we always say, Coach McFadden in his 4 years here, year 1, he had to lay the foundation during that COVID year. And I can't remember what he said the record was, but that year was laying down the foundation and establishing order. Year 2, they lost to Grimsley in the 3rd round of the playoffs. Last year we lost to Wellington in the 5th round. So now it's like nobody's looking at Independence now like, oh, okay, Independence is just another game, or Independence is shocking anybody. Now you're being hunted. Everybody wants to hunt you. Everybody wants to beat you. Everybody wants to find out if it's real, if Independence is really bad. You hear the news, you hear the media outlets, you see the rankings, all that stuff, and people want to know if it's real. So we challenging our guys is, just want it more. Like you just gotta want it. Like you just gotta want it. As simple as that. Every single day we go out there for practice in the classroom or anything football related, school related, we just challenging our guys to want it more.
Very good.
Let me ask you.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna spin it. So we got, obviously Ken Adam throughout the the coaching viewpoint. I thought from the other kind of the player standpoint. But like Ken said, reevaluating your roster. Kid might have grown, shot up. Maybe a starter graduated, and now a kid's thinking, hey, maybe I might want to play that position, and maybe he has the skill set necessary for it. So you can look at switching positions, and something he throughout kind of triggered a memory of my own as somebody who kind of halfway through high school just stepped into playing football, and you're going from no football at all just straight to varsity. Spring ball, I remember, was big on just learning how culture works in football, learning terminology, different things like that. Just starting the learning process early. So I would say spring ball is definitely very much key for kids who have never played organized football, just to start learning and get a head start on that. So I can attest to that spring ball was big for that. So any young kids who just thinking about playing, never played, definitely should be encouraged to come out and just get started early.
Yeah, absolutely. I was running short on time. I started the show late because I was eating wings. I mean, that's a good excuse for this show, right?
That's some great transparency, man.
I mean, come on.
No one's gonna judge you for that either.
Not on this show.
Nope.
No, absolutely not. So, review of the comments right here. We were talking earlier. Before we do that, Tyrese Williams has a shout out for Big Eye. Says, "What's up, Adam Weber?" That's a good friend of yours from
So Tyrese, what's up? Tyrese was the originator of Big Shelby, man.
Oh, okay. Good
Yep.
to see you, Tyrese. We were talking earlier. Nikisha says they had a game where a parent was put out, the player was put out too. Wow.
That's kind of you know that's gonna happen.
Wow.
Guilty by association.
Ooh, Joe Hughes. What happened to fans just giving refs the DX crop shot?
Love a good wrestling reference.
Most fans now, well, young fans don't know who DX is. So a little bit of education there. Also says Shelby fans are making fun of a ref's bald spot during basketball season. Good.
Hey man, I'm gonna tell you, man. Shelby got some of the best fans, man. You don't go in there half stepping, boy.
Some of the best because they're making fun of a bald.
I'm just saying they're gonna have it in. It's gonna be very entertaining, man. So you better come correct.
Do they sell those liver mush sandwiches at basketball games too?
Nah, not basketball game. Basketball games, the concession stands are ran by Miss Jerika Best.
Okay.
So it's separate from the football games.
Oh, okay. Well, that Shelby doing it big. Got separate concession stand operators. That's next level. Karen Belk, yeah, Karen, thank you for tagging me in that story. We did talk about it, so you'll enjoy our commentary. And then Gregory Ager with a shout out for Big Web. So
what's going on, my brother?
very, very popular there. All right. Well, I went to Mooresville on Monday, and I went to Palisades yesterday. And both teams looked good. Mooresville was very crisp. They, flew around. They had some good talent on the field. Interviewed some of those players on our social media channels. Same thing with Palisades. Palisades is focused on learning scheme. They have some new players that they're trying to, get integrated into their offense and defense. Also interviewed some of their players and Coach Simmons. So make sure you go check that out. Tomorrow, I'll be going to Lake Norman, catching up with Coach Oliphant and that program up there. They had a good regular season, and then Independence took them out in the playoffs. But we'll be excited to catch up with those guys and see what they got going on. And then next week, there'll be no show. I will be gone celebrating my 1-year wedding anniversary in parts unknown. So you get a week off from hearing these guys, at least on this platform. And then we'll come back in 2 weeks and catch up, and maybe we'll have some coaching hires to talk about. We'll see. But on behalf of Adam Big Eye Shelby Weber of Independence High School, linebackers coach, Kenneth the Engine McClamrock, the head coach at Rocky River High School, the defensive end extraordinaire, Brandon Black from Harding University High School, and then Coach Doug Robert Washington, whose computer has died for the second time while he's on the show. I'm the Pepman, Matt Morrow. Thank you for watching Football Focus Weekly, the radio show, CFI Charlotte Football Insiders. Make sure you keep it locked into the best high school football show in the Carolinas and beyond. Have a good 2 weeks. We'll see you soon.